The starfield stretched endlessly beyond the viewport, a sea of silver and blue, cold and eternal. For Lyren, it had been her home for far too long. The Vasari's Hope, her small, battered exploration vessel, drifted on the edge of mapped space, its engines whispering against the void. She was the last of the Ariaks, a race once known for their graceful cities suspended in gas-giant clouds, for music that could bend light itself. But the war had come. The silence after was worse. She had wandered alone for 6 standard cycles, searching for survivors, hearing only static. Her large, opalescent eyes, so bright once, were dim now, the iridescent ridges along her cheekbones dulled with grief. She spoke aloud just to hear a voice. "Lyren, you're still here. Keep moving. Keep breathing." It was during one of these lonely stretches that the distress signal reached her. Faint, human, and days old. The logical thing would have been to mark it and move on. Humans were not her people. But the sound of another voice, even in recording, felt like a rope thrown into the black. She altered course. Middled the rescue. The source turned out to be a crippled freighter, Everway, caught in the slow spiral of a dying orbit around an ice moon. Its hull was torn, venting atmosphere in silver ribbons. Lyren's hands moved instinctively over her controls, her ship shuddering as she locked onto it with a docking clamp. Inside, the corridors were dim, emergency lighting casting the place in pulses of red. She found him in the engineering bay, tall, dark-haired, wearing the grease and sweat of someone who'd been fighting to keep his ship alive. His lips were pale, breath ragged, and he froze when he saw her. "You're not exactly fleet rescue," he rasped. "And you're heavier than the standard cargo I pull," she replied, crouching to support him. Her voice was calm, but her heart hammered. It had been so long since she touched another living being. He managed a smile despite his exhaustion. "Name's Kael. You just saved my hide." The walk back to the Vasari's Hope was slow. Twice his legs gave out, and she caught him under the arms, feeling the solid weight of him. He was warm, blisteringly warm compared to her cooler skin, and for a fleeting moment she realized she'd forgotten what shared warmth felt like. She got him into her medbay, patched the worst of his injuries, and set the autosurgeon to work. Hours passed before he woke again. "Why?" he asked quietly. "Why'd you come for me? You don't even know me." She hesitated. "Because I was tired of talking to empty walls." Drifting together. Repairs took days. The freighter was beyond saving, so Kael stayed aboard her vessel. At first, they kept to themselves, speaking only when necessary. But the silence between them began to soften. They traded stories over ration packs. He told her about growing up in a mining colony on the edge of human space, about losing his crew in a pirate raid. She spoke, haltingly, about the fall of the Ariaks, how she had searched for others but found nothing. "You've been carrying that alone?" he asked one night, leaning against the galley counter, watching her. Her gaze dropped to her cup. "The galaxy is very big when there's no one left to call your name." He stepped closer, his hand brushing hers. Not an accident, but a deliberate act. "Then I'll call it Lyren." The sound of her name in a human voice made something in her chest ache and unfurl at once. The threat. Their fragile companionship was tested when the Vasari's Hope picked up an incoming signature. 2 small, fast ships. Lyren recognized the pattern instantly. Scavenger raiders. They wouldn't care that her ship was barely armed. They'd strip it, and them, down to scrap. Kael moved without hesitation, securing loose gear, checking what weapons they had. "We can't outrun them." "Not with our current drive output," she said, her voice clipped. "Then we fight." It was a brutal chase through the asteroid field. Lyren handled the controls with a grace born of her people's skydancing heritage, weaving between spinning rock and ice, while Kael manned the turret. The raiders pressed hard, scoring the hull twice. A shot to their rear thruster sent the Vezari's hope tumbling, alarms blaring. In the chaos, Kael's voice rang out over the comm. "I've got them in my sights, hang on." The turret roared, and one raider ship shattered in a flash of fire. The second broke off, unwilling to face a cornered prey that fought like predators. When it was over, Lyren's hands were trembling. Kael came down from the gunnery station. His face flushed. "Told you we could fight." She stared at him, and before she could stop herself, she laughed, a sound she hadn't made in years. Ending held close. They spent the night in the observation dome, letting the ship drift while they caught their breath. The stars outside were a silver ocean, and for once they didn't look cold to her. Kael sat beside her, his arm draped loosely over the back of her seat. "You ever think about stopping?" he asked. She turned to him. "Stopping? Finding a place? Building something? Not just drifting until the void swallows us?" The question was too big, too dangerous. She looked away, afraid of the weight it carried. "There's no place for me anymore. My home is gone." He was silent for a moment, then reached over and took her hand. "Then we'll make a new one. There. Together." The warmth of his hand seeped into her, chasing away a chill she hadn't known was still inside her. Her throat tightened. "You'd stay?" she asked softly. "I'm already here," he said. And before she could think, before she could put up the walls again, he pulled her gently against him. She froze, then let herself sink into it, the steady beat of his heart in her ear, the solid reality of another life holding her close. The galaxy outside was vast, dark, and endless. But for the first time in 6 cycles, Lyren didn't feel alone.